Welcome to Horse Riding Basics. All right, so we learned how to put the halter on our horse and lead him correctly. Now we're at the cross ties, and we're going to tie him up. This is where we get our horses ready for riding. So, most cross ties have quick releases. You attach it to the cheek piece on the side. Wait. You go under his neck, you take the other cross tie, and you attach it to the cheek piece here. These have quick releases, so if you were to get spooked or scared and you want to let him go quickly, you would just pull down and you could let the horse free. We unhook the lead rope, and now we're going to groom the horse and get him ready for riding. All right, so there's a few tools that you need. This is my favorite tool. This is called a grooming mitt or a curry comb. So you use your curry comb in round circular motions on his neck, on his back, on his belly, and on his rump. This brings up the natural oils and also gets out any loose hairs and dust. You can also do a little bit on his legs. While I'm grooming him, I'm checking out his facial expressions. I want to make sure he looks happy and calm. If his head was up like a giraffe with big, wide, white eyes, then I would know he would be scared and I would probably take him out of the cross ties. So this horse looks happy. After I use my grooming mitt, I'm going to get a brush. I'm going to brush my horse. So here's a brush. Make sure it doesn't have any dust or dirt on it. And then gently brush away all the dirt and dust that you've brought up. All the loose hairs. I go over my whole horse's body. And I want to make sure that I'm checking him closely, that there are no lumps and bumps. His knees look like the same size. There's no wounds. It's important to see his eyes, that the eyes look the same size. You want to make sure they don't have any swollen. So I brush him real well all over, down his legs. Careful when I'm behind. And then I'm going to go to the other side. Now, when you change sides, you don't want to go behind the horse because you could get accidentally kicked. It's better, if you can, to go in front of the horse, in front of the cross ties, and over to the other side. And again, you'll curry comb the horse on this side, and then brush him. Checking again to make sure he looks healthy and in good shape. You get a good workout before you even get on your horse, brushing him everywhere. Making sure there's no dirt where you would put the girth. All right, my horse is clean. I'm going to get a soft baby brush and brush his face. Then I'm going to pick out his feet, and then we'll put the saddle and bridle on, and we'll go to the mounting block and get on and start our ride. All right, so here's a soft baby brush, and I'm just gently going to brush down the middle of his face and on the sides, around his eyes, very gently, getting off any extra hairs, dust, or dirt. There you go. All right, then I'm going to take a hoof pick. This is a hoof pick, and this is very important before you ride your horse to pick out his feet. They have a frog in the middle and two sides where you want to make sure you get out any mud, dirt, manure, or any rocks that could be in there before you ride. So you take your hoof pick, you go to the side of the horse, run our hand down his leg, give him a little pinch at the ankle until he picks up his foot, and then we'll pick out the foot. This horse has pads on, so I'm just going to make sure the pad is nice and clean. There you go. All right. Then we're going to do his back feet. You're going to take your hand and gently run your hand down the horse's back so he knows you're here. And then give him a little pinch. He's going to pick up his foot. And then you're going to pick out his feet on both sides to make sure there's no rocks. Now you always want to put down and away from you. And then you can use a little brush to get all the extra little pieces out. There we go. There you go. That's a nice clean foot. All right, we're going to do the other side. And again, we're going to go around the front of the horse. Now, this is very common with beginners. The horse is too close to the wall. So what do? We want to be safe. So what you can do is just gently put your hand on the horse's side and ask him to move over. Horses usually move away from pressure. So you just push him over a little bit so he moves away. There you go. And again, we're gonna pick out his feet on this side. So I run my hand down the side, pinch his ankle, pick up his foot, and pick it out. And then I gently take my hand, run it down his back leg, pick up his foot, hold it with my left hand, and with my right hand, I pick out. This is the frog in the middle, and on the sides is where we pick to make sure there's no funny smells or rocks or manure. And then we brush it out. Now, if there were a funny smell, you would tell your riding instructor, and you can get a little product in there, and it'll get rid of if there's a little bit of bacteria. So we always want to make sure that the shoe has all the nails in it and that it's on securely before we go riding. So it's kind of like checking your tires before you go for a drive. Good boy. So we curry combed our horse, we brushed our horse, we brushed our horse's face, we made sure he didn't have any lumps and bumps, he looks healthy, we picked out his feet, we made sure the shoes were on. The last thing we do before we get ready to ride is we use a brush, a mane and tail brush. And so what you can do is brush his forelock a little bit. We can brush his mane, which is over here, all on the right side on this horse. Just make sure there's no knots. It looks nice and clean and organized. And then some people don't ever brush the horse's tail. So you want to make sure you keep that horse's tail nice and full. So you don't want to brush out and take too much hair out. So you can go to the side, take the tail. You can use a detangler if it's knotty, because you want to have a nice full tail. And you can hold it, and you can just brush out the knots carefully. I'm going to hold a little higher. And just make sure the tail looks good. So again, some people will use a body brush to brush the tail because they want to keep the tail nice and full and not rip out too many hairs. The whole time I'm grooming my horse, I'm keeping an eye on his expression and demeanor. You can see from this back foot he has cocked, that he's nice and relaxed. His neck is nice and relaxed, and his ears are to the side. He's licking his lips, so he has no tension in the jaw. Horses tend to hold a lot of tension in the jaw. So if he were worried or stressed, his head would be up, he'd have big eyes, he'd look more like a giraffe, right? He might be tense. His neck feels nice and relaxed, his eyes calm. So I know he's happy in the cross ties. So when you're grooming your horse as a beginner, you always want to check in. How is my horse feeling today? Is he calm? Is he relaxed? He looks good today. All right, next step is to get our saddle and bridle, and then we'll go to the mounting block and we'll learn how to get on.